Morning, everyone. Welcome to Water of Life and our worship this morning. You've probably figured out things may be a little bit different this morning. Some of you know very well the service that we're going to do this morning. For some of you, and as I'll explain in a minute, it's sort of an introduction. My name is Joel Garrett, and I'm privileged to serve as the National Director of Jesus Cares Ministry, a ministry which is a part of your congregation. As you join the two campuses of Water of Life, Pastor Zarling approached me a couple months ago and said, as we do this, we want to not only keep the Jesus Cares Ministry going at this campus, but the idea is that when God blesses you with a second pastor, that we would also begin a Worship of the Cross service at the Racine campus as well. Some of you know that we've got a huge potential in this community. Right, Cindy? Maybe just a little bit. We've got a huge potential to grow the Jesus Cares work in this community. And I'm so grateful that Pastor Zarling is in tune to that. So last weekend I did this at the Racine campus. So for some of you, this may be a review. For the rest of you, this is to give you an idea of what Jesus Cares Ministries is all about. And the other thing I would ask you to consider as we go through the service this morning is this something that maybe your talents lend themselves to being a part of? We had some other really interesting conversations last week at the Racine campus of some other opportunities we have. So just know that God, as you pull this all together, is giving you some tremendous ministry opportunity. I want to take just a couple minutes before we actually get into the Jesus Cares worship service this morning and give you an overview of what Jesus Cares Ministries is all about. There's our mission statement. Jesus Cares Ministries assists congregation in reaching out to people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, their families, and communities. There's three things I always note about that mission statement. We assist congregations. Several years ago, the assisting was helping you get your Jesus Cares program started. The assisting now is what can we do to grow it. Some of the other work that we do assisting congregations is how can we boost and strengthen the Jesus Cares program. The middle line, reaching out, that's going to be the big focus that I'll talk about in our devotional message this morning. I think some of you will be blown away with the mission opportunity that we have and that we're barely scratching the surface of. And then you start to understand who Jesus Cares reaches to serve. People with intellectual and developmental disability, those with Down syndrome, those on the autism spectrum, some of our friends with cerebral palsy. But you notice it also says their families and community. I've been involved with Jesus Cares in one way or another for about 15 years now. And one of the things I've come to understand is that when you have the opportunity to share Jesus with an individual with special needs, you invariably have the opportunity to have a connection with their family, or perhaps you may even have an opportunity to have a connection with their caregivers. You don't have that so much with your Jesus Cares program here, but there are a fair number of our Jesus Cares programs across the country where it is caregivers at group homes who bring those individuals who live in the group home to the Jesus Cares program. So what happens when a caregiver who thinks that they are just faithfully doing their job by bringing that individual from the group home to the Jesus Cares service, what happens when they hear the gospel message month after month after month? You know, we always talk as Lutheran Christians that it's the gospel that changes hearts. So it's a neat thing when the gospel starts to work on their hearts. And I'll share with you just one example. 4 or 5 years ago, we had one of our Jesus Cares programs where there were 3 caregivers who had been doing that faithful duty for about 3 years. And they got talking among themselves, and all 3 of them realized that they had not been baptized. So together they approached the pastor of that local congregation and said, we would like to be baptized and we would like to join your congregation. So understand that as we look to grow the Jesus Cares work that Water of Life is doing, that may be an opportunity that God gives us. Think about everything that goes on as a part of Water of Life. If you looked at the free service slides, or we'll talk about in some of the service announcements, you can talk about it in three big areas: worship, Bible study, and fellowship. We are going to do the Jesus Cares worship service almost exactly like it happens here on the fourth Saturday of every month. I'm going to tweak a few things to give a little bit of an introduction and that type of thing, but you're going to get a good idea of what our Worship of the Cross service looks like. New Friends is the fellowship aspect of Jesus Cares, where we engage high school and college students to be true and genuine friends to their peers with special needs. You know of your congregation's affiliation with Shoreland Lutheran High School. Shoreland has had an aspect of New Friends going on for quite a while. The neat thing is how God continues to give us opportunities to begin those types of ministries. My brother-in-law was recently began his work as the first campus pastor at Kingdom Prep Lutheran High School in the inner city of Milwaukee. It's an extension of Wisconsin Lutheran High School. And they are looking to give young African-American men in the inner city an understanding of leadership and responsibility and those types of things. And several weeks ago, they contacted me and said, can we talk about a New Friends program at Kingdom Prep? Friday morning, I had a conversation with one of the directors of the Wauwatosa Special Olympics program, who you can imagine was over the moon excited that we had yet another group of young people who wanted to be supportive of their athletes. So that's what New Friends is all about. The Jesus Cares Bible class is like a simplified Sunday school for those with special needs. That's one of the other things that Pastor Darling and some of the others involved with your Jesus Cares program have seen as an opportunity that we look like we will probably get started rather soon. We talked about families. Understand the challenges that many of our families who have loved ones with special needs face, and so one of the other things we do is look to support those families with a mentor program for the parents. Understand that your Jesus Cares program is one of 170 and growing at the rate of about one a month, literally coast to coast in the U.S. I will, in October, be out working with the Jesus Cares program in Woodbridge, Virginia, to grow their reach, helping start Jesus Cares programs literally all over the country. But that is not the full extent of the work of Jesus Cares. In conjunction with the WELS World Mission work and partnering together with Kingdom Workers, we have had a Jesus Cares program in the African country of Malawi since 2013. Some of you may know that, but the one on the right, you may be going, well, I've never heard of that before. That's because our Jesus Cares work in the country of Grenada in the Caribbean began just a couple months ago during Holy Week, the week before Easter this year. So God has given us that opportunity as well.